Hello guys, well that was much more like it. Arsenal comfortable winners against Athletic Bilbao in their final pre-season friendly. Looking a much more dangerous team. It was a really strong starting lineup and we saw that first choice midfield three together. I think that made a huge difference. Gyokeres off the mark as well, a brilliant header. But I think more generally what I'd say is, we've heard, partly you've heard from me, this idea that Arsenal are going to be more direct this season. They're going to play to Gyokeres' strengths when he's on the field. But we hadn't really necessarily seen that be particularly successful in pre-season. Well, I think that changed yesterday. There was a lot of direct passing from David Raya through the defenders, the base of midfield, a lot of running in behind. I think it benefited Martinelli. I think it benefited Saka as well. Arsenal looked a team with a lot more verticality, to use one of those sort of contemporary football phrases. And I think that's exciting. I mean, this was definitely our most coherent performance of pre-season. It helps that the spine of the team was in place. Gabriel and Saliba back alongside each other at centre-half. That midfield three, as I said, Zubimendi, Rice, Odegaard, all playing together. And I thought Mikel Arteta really interesting on the fact that Zubimendi and Rice swap position at times, operated as a double pivot at times. I do think we may come to think of Zubimendi and Rice as a partnership. And I think that opens up some really interesting possibilities in terms of what it does to the front of our team. Gyokeres, great header. I mean, obviously, I don't think he scored a header in the league for Sporting last season, but he showed that certainly he's got the ability. I mean, a great ball from Zubimendi, wonderful flicked header into the far corner, and probably a big moment for him to get that goal before pre-season is out. I think if that game had ended and he hadn't scored, it's not to say there'd be pressure, but it might have created some sort of psychological pressure within his mind. He's got that out the way now, and he'll be raring to go. We'll talk about Old Trafford and team selection very shortly. Second goal really was the consequence of one of those sort of bits of direct play, going more down the middle with runners in behind, and it paid off. And by the way, speaking of direct play, what about Kai Havertz's goal? I mean, sensational burst and finish from him, showing that he's not giving up that number 9 position without a fight. Noni Madueke came on. I thought was interesting that he again played on the left wing, was dangerous at times. I do wonder if that's where his opportunities for the time being might come soonest. No Max Dowman involved on the day. He was given a bit of a break. I have to be honest and say I hope that's a break with a view to him being involved at Old Trafford next week, because I think he's done enough to be involved. And yeah, right now, if we need a goal in a game, I think there's every chance he could come off the bench. I know that may sound absurd. He's only 15 years old, but I think that's where we find ourselves. Zubimendi was great in this game. Let's speak about Old Trafford, because I think Dowman should be in the squad. I think he deserves to be in the squad. When it comes to the starting 11, I've kind of been on the fence about Zubimendi and Gyokeres in terms of will they be thrown in from the start of the Premier League season. Zubimendi didn't start a series of friendlies in succession. Gyokeres obviously arrived late. I think off the back of yesterday, I think I'd be inclined to go with them, I have to say. In Zubimendi's case, I just think he adds another dimension to our midfield play that I don't think Norgard does. I think he's a superior player to our other options really in that position. I think he's better there, certainly even than Declan Rice is, in terms of his use of the ball, his ability to receive it under pressure. So I think he should play. On Gyokeres, if Kai Havertz was fully fit, if he'd been available for both friendlies this week, I'm convinced Kai Havertz would start at Old Trafford, and there's still a decent chance that he might. I just think with Gyokeres having had both starts in those games due to Havertz's fitness issues, with him having scored as well, I just wonder if the manager might think, let's try and hit the ground running. I'm kind of one of those people who sort of said all along, I think it'll be Havertz at the start. And it wouldn't surprise me if it was. But I just think the injury may have changed that. It may have changed that. So that's an interesting one to watch. Left back as well, I think is possibly one of the spots that's open to debate. I mean, Jurrien Timber played at right back in this game ahead of Ben White. I think if Jurrien Timber is fit for Old Trafford, I think defensively he may well go with Jurrien Timber. I think he's the stronger defender in one-on-one situations. But I would have no complaints here. It was Ben White. I think Ben White's been good going forward in pre-season. And obviously he's played more football than Jurien, so we shall see. And I think the other fullback spot is the other one that's open to debate. I mean, I think Gabriel and Saliba will start. And then he played Calafiori from the start, didn't he, against Athletic Bilbao. It has been Miles for the majority of pre-season. I think it will be Miles. As I said in my last video, I don't think Miles has had a storming pre-season. But nor has Calafiori, really, and it's been predominantly at centre-half. I thought he had a good game on Saturday night, but it's a tough one. I think I'd go with Miles. He's going to be up against Mbermo. I think I'd go with Miles. But Mikel may reason that Calafiori will give Man United more to think about going in the opposite direction. So it's an interesting call, that one. So yeah, the fullbacks, the number 9 maybe. I think everything else picks itself, to be honest. We'll speak then. I'm going to Manchester. I wasn't at the game last night. I was at a friend's 40th because that is the age I am entering. A lot of 40ths coming up in the next 12 months. Which was good fun, but I followed along on a stream, watched the first 60 minutes live and then caught up with the rest later on. So, yeah, I think it certainly was a result and a performance to leave fans feeling a lot more excited about next weekend at Old Trafford. And can you believe it? Benjamin Sesko potentially lining up against Viktor Gyokeres. Narrative overload. I'll leave it there for now, guys. Take care. Have a good rest of your weekend. I'm not sure when I'll be able to upload this. Maybe it'll be tonight. Bye.